you have an idea and a team, and folks like this, Angel Forum, now there is this Sky Angels that's being formed, Band of Angels, or Super Angels. There's a bunch of these guys who actually take the idea and then fund it, which will help you to build the prototype and then take it to the VCs. Okay? And then the Series A. So I've seen, by the way, many Series A investments from VCs, where I've seen, including Exodus, the valuation was like $3.5 million in Series A. 2 valuations, this is personally, I myself have seen, something like $13-14 million in Series A, just with a little prototype and all that stuff, right? So the biggest puzzle in everybody's mind is, what causes this? And I've also seen some companies getting valuation around $7, $8, $9 million in that range. So it's kind of spread all over, right? So here is, and then if you go to a tier 1 VC, the same thing could potentially give you about $10, $15 million discount that you have to give. So let's look at this example. Pre-money valuation of $10 million, company raises about $9 million, $1 million from seed, so that's about $10 million. Post-money valuation is $5 million each. By the way, I don't know if you guys know, most VCs, they want to own greater than 20%. That's the kind of rule that they operate on. When they invest, especially in Series A, they want to own a little over 20%. Because they think, I'm going to be spending a lot of cycles, and I don't want to invest in too many companies, but the company that I invest in, let me take a big chunk of the company. So if you go with 2 investors, right, then you're talking about 40 to 45% basically going into these 2 investors. So that's the kind of math you have to think in your mind. Okay, so this kind of gives you an indication of how the structuring in some of these companies that happen with a pre-money valuation of $10 million. And then what are some of the key valuation drivers? So key to valuation, number 1, how good the founding team is. Have they proven to deliver in the past, right? So some of these things play a critical role. And how viable this concept that you're working on, how big the potential market is. Potential market, I mean, it may not get there, right? At least when I invest in this company, right, this company should have the potential to be $1 billion company. So type of VC that you should pick are the ones who add value to bring customers, bring people, product management, go-to-market strategy. I mean, a lot of these VCs will actually want to help you, right? But use them carefully. So Series B is a typical range, right? Could be anywhere from $15 to $40 million. So once again, look at the range. It's pretty big, right? It leads to the same thing. How well you have executed on your Series A promise. Have you built the product? Have you built a quality product? Do you have some customers who can actually stand up and then say that, I love this product, I love the value proposition, okay? All of these things change the valuation. And some of the VCs who fit into this category are Globespan, Jafco, Mayfield, right? These are the guys who don't want to take the early market risk, but they don't mind paying a little premium and get into the Series B investment. So these guys will typically help you in new markets, market strategy, etc. And by the way, this round is generally a tough one because you've not fully proved your value proposition or you have not fully proved your execution, right? Either you can take off in the positive direction or you can even go down either, because it's very easy to make the mistakes. Because I mean, I've seen this one company where I was involved. It had some incredible market drivers. And based on that, the company went and raised the Series B at a significant premium. And guess what? The product did not have market opportunity beyond that first set of customers. And the first set, unfortunately, it turned out it was a very small set of customers. So the market was very small. So the value of this technology was not applicable beyond that small market segment. Okay? As a result, it became an execution issue, right? So anyway, company went through some challenges there. So this is, an example. I'll leave this with you. You guys can actually take a look at it. It just tells you what the ownership change, how the ownership changes. Series C, okay, strategic round. So getting funding from someone like a Cisco or Juniper or LSI, one of those things. How many of you have heard of this down round? Down round is the next round valuation is basically lower than, so look at this, this example that I gave you, right? Series B. This company raised money at about $75 million. This was a Sequoia company. And usually what happens is when you get money from a Sequoia, Kleiner Perkins, or Accel Partners, or one of these high-profile VCs, right? There's a bunch of other investors who blindly come and put the money. In fact, I'll be happy to forward an article that came about a year ago or so in Fortune Forbes magazine. I forgot the name of some of these VCs. So what they do is these VCs, they raise the money from doctors, lawyers, and other professionals who cannot get into a Kleiner Perkins fund or who cannot get into a Sequoia fund. So what this guy does is, hey, let me help you, take you into Sequoia and Kleiner Perkins or Accel Partners deals, but it will be at a premium. So these guys end up actually giving significant premium. So when you raise the money at that significant premium, especially with that challenge that I talked about, right? You raise the Series B at this valuation, and then you fail on the execution part. And guess what? Series C would be a down round. How many of you have heard of washout round? The washout round is what we went through at NetScaler. So this is when you know what a VC is, right? A VC is a venture capitalist. What's the other name of VC? Vulture capitalist, right? This is when the true nature of the VC actually comes up. That's when he's a vulture. So he looks at the opportunity, and by the way, this whole VC business, the way it works, is every new round that you raise the money, it's almost mandatory for you to raise the money from a new investor, right? Because you want the new investor to set the valuation. So that means you have to go to the new investor. So if there's no new investor, either the existing guys will wash out themselves, plus they'll wash out others who are not playing. The main purpose why they do it is you wash out the guys who don't want to play. Or a new investor comes in, and then he just washes out, and then completely recaps the whole thing and creates a new capital structure. So all your previous investment goes into common, and then it also gets compressed dramatically, okay? And so new capital structure gets created. Make sense? Okay, so exist and all that stuff. So this is an interesting slide that I created actually while I was at NetScaler, because I was trying to articulate to the employees, what problem we had. This is the example that I talked about when the market went down, right? Here you are, you've built an incredible product and the technology, and then you have a great set of employees and the management, right? And unfortunately, the market is not there. So when you don't have the market, right, that's when you have a gap of nobody wanting your product. You've built the product, you've done everything possible, but there's no market, right? The timing has not hit. And that's when typically you see long sales cycles, market awareness. That means you need a lot of dollars. So you need to be very cautious in your spending at that time. Now, when the market actually converges, right, that is when the company actually takes off. Okay? This is like this is exactly how Netscaler behaved. So this is just my philosophy: make a difference to the customers, and you know, when you do that, obviously, that's why I put this in green as well. To the shareholders, everybody, employees, everybody is a shareholder, right? So you get the green if you make a difference to the customers. So valuation is not derived using a formula. I mean, I don't think there is any formula, because in public companies you have other kinds of metrics that you use, but in startup companies, right, these are the kind of things which I talked about. And ultimately, if you build value in the company, raising money, even during tough times, even during tough environments, is not that hard. Okay? There are lots of companies who have succeeded in raising money, even during the most difficult times. Aruba was one of them, right? Aruba actually was formed during bad times, but they managed to raise the money, even during tough times. Team plays a big role, because team, in case of Aruba, was a very good team. Strategy, vision, and execution are the two sides of the same coin. Okay? Customer acquisition and customer retention, that's my philosophy in creating value. So just quickly to wrap up, my recent and current engagements. So I was on the board of Ocarina. I was a seed investor. I was on the board of Ocarina Networks, which after about 3 years got acquired by Dell. And then I was on the board of Ankina, which was a media acceleration company that got acquired by Juniper. And then the company that I was running, Three Leaf Systems, was actually, we were building an ASIC. And the company was founded back in 2004 to solve a computing and memory virtualization issue. So there was an ASIC that we were building, and at that time the ASIC was primarily designed to work with AMD, because AMD market share was almost like 35% back in 2004, 2005 timeframe. So we built the ASIC, and like now, you know, AMD's market share has come down to like single digits, and Intel has taken off. So we got onto the Intel bandwagon to develop an ASIC, and unfortunately that ASIC, being so complex, was going to be delivered only by end of 2011, that is end of next year. So we knew very well that the company was not going to get funded. So I went to the board about 9 months ago, and I said, this would be very hard to raise money for this company, and best is to sell this company. So we ended up, this just happened in the last couple of weeks. So obviously it's not announced yet. So Three Leaf was picked up by Huawei. So I'm actually out of Three Leaf at this point of time. Okay, and